We're not on yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Red light's on.
This conference will now be recorded.
Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
How about for this, right in front of the car, please?
Gotcha.
Right behind that
Yeah.
little stand. Stand up.
Yeah, I think I'm going down.
No.
Well,
Keep sliding
what
back
happens,
here.
like all the bids that we do, when we're not bidding against anybody else, then you don't ever see any increases. Because you don't play that game.
Okay, welcome everyone to the August 22nd, 2022 Commission meeting. Begin with public comments. There's no one in the room, but is there anyone online who would like to make a public comment? If so, unmute your microphone and you're welcome to make comments. Not seeing any, we'll move into agenda approval. We will add a couple of executive sessions at the end of the meeting. We'll do that after county councilor or somewhere in that spot. And with that, we'll move into administrative business. Ashley.
I have some salary sheets.
Oh my. I should sign this too. Okay, salary sheets for the ambulance department. Caitlin Kelly, $15.26 per hour, effective 8/24/22, new EMTB. Ambulance department, Travis Parmley, from $4,705 a month to $19.48 per hour, effective 8/21. Change from EMS and office administrator transition coordinator to paramedic. Changes salary to hourly wage. The appraiser's office, Michael Hurst, 25/12 to 27/96, effective 8/21. Change from appraiser 1 to GIS technician 1. Appraiser's office, Michaela Clinda, 25/86 to 26/62, effective 8/21. Change from personal property coordinator to appraiser 2. Ambulance department, Charles Kinney, from $19.48 per hour to $21.48 per hour, effective 8/21. Increased interim pay due to increased paramedic wages. We have the ambulance department personnel increases that we approved. So the first one is Robert Hoyt from $16.48 per hour to $19.48 per hour, effective 8/21. Paramedic wage increase per Board of County Commission approval during the 8/15 meeting. Charles Kinney, I guess we should have done this one before the other one. Ambulance department from $16.45 per hour to $19.48 per hour, effective 8/21. Paramedic wage increase.
How's come we already have a new sheet on this?
I think this one should have been first. I got them out of order, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's the old wage to the 1948, and then we give him the directors, interim directors.
Okay.
Well, it sounds.
Somebody else can have to sign, Sharon.
Somebody else can be chairman. Dave Profit can be vice chairman. Ambulance Department Kevin
You
Marler
have to sign as a
from
chairman.
$16.45 per hour, $19.48 per hour,
Leave sign to
effective
come.
8/21.
Okay.
Paramedic wage increase.
Got more messed up.
Kelly Olson, Ambulance Department, $16.45 per hour to $19.48 per hour, effective 8/21. Paramedic wage increase. Nikki Price, $16.78 per hour to $19.48 per hour, effective 8/21. Paramedic wage increase.
Keep it for
All right.
Ambulance Department, Robert Moose, $16.45 per hour to $19.48 per hour, effective 8/21. Paramedic wage increase. Evan Moore, Ambulance Department, $16.45 per hour to $19.48 per hour, effective 8/21. Paramedic wage increase. Ambulance Department, Nathan Bruner, $14.49 per hour to $16.81 per hour, effective 8/21. AEMT wage increase. Ambulance Department, Katie Eberly, $14.21 per hour to $16.81 per hour, AEMT increase. Ambulance Department, Charles Walker, $14.21 per hour to $16.81 per hour, effective 8/21. AEMT wage increase. Tegan Decker, $12.89 per hour to $15.26 per hour, EMTB wage increase. Ambulance Department, Alexander Vogue, $12.89 per hour to $15.26 per hour, effective 8/21. EMTB wage increase. Ambulance Department, Anthony Wyatt, $13.15 per hour to $15.26 per hour, effective 8/21. EMTB wage increase. Noah Richter, Ambulance Department, $13.41 per hour, $15.26 per hour, effective 8/21. EMTB wage increase. Last one. Matthew Williams, Ambulance Department, $12.89 per hour to $15.26 per hour, effective 8/21. EMTB wage increase.
Any more trees left up there?
Sure they have full staff. Sure they have full staff.
Oh, no.
Okay, then next I have some change orders.
Okay.
No problem.
See a place to sign on
Supplements all over review.
that. Okay.
Supplement.
Anything to sign on that one?
Oh, okay.
Lost somewhere in the show.
There's your old buddy there.
How does someone get an exemption? Day shift?
We can look.
Yeah, I
Find
just,
out.
you know, I know we've got our program, tax abate, abatement program, understand that. If that's what this is on, well, understand it. Maybe that's what this is on then. But it just says exempting the 135 to 69 Hayes building for the first 8 of 10 years after construction. The exemption was filed during the 22-month PUP for the property. I don't understand.
Okay, well, we can have a report next week.
If it's under that, I understand, but if it's not under that, I don't understand.
And we'll have an answer next week.
Okay, next I need the approval of the August 8th, August 12th, and August 15 minutes.
Commissioners have had a chance to review. Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Crowfoot to approve the minutes of August 8th, 12th, and 15th. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Becker. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried, 5-0.
So one question.
No, it's on the bottom. It was the first week down through there.
Good thing we double check everything.
Okay. Next I have some early checks.
Okay. Commissioners have a chance to review early checks. Are there any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve early checks in the amount of, let me put my glasses on, $867,370.89.
Also move.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Crowfoot. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion, questions? If not, those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion carried, 5-0. Actually, it's a tight ship.
Expensive ship, but tight.
All right, this morning we received some special deer hunts for youth and disabled hunters. I think you guys need to make a motion to approve and then sign them.
Okay,
That's coming up for long.
so we read each one, is that right?
I think you read.
There's 3. Okay. We have applications for Marion County residents' special deer hunts for youth and disabled hunters
Answer your questions, yes.
for the
You're talking about individually, yes.
2022-2023 hunting season. It'd be for Gavin Bennett, Clayton Jantz, and Ian Bennett.
Is this for them to hunt on the landfill?
Yes. I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garing. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. You don't get to read it until,
We've never had more than one.
they got 3 this time.
Yeah.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried, 5-0. That's a good program.
You sign it or just?
No.
This
I
is
think-
just for information.
I think you need to
I need to
sign
sign the back page.
one of the cards.
Okay,
There's a signature you gotta sign
okay,
for this one.
thank you.
Yeah, been
The chairman has to sign the card?
Clay, James.
Huh?
The chairman has to sign the card?
Yes.
That's 3 new ones. Oh,
Now the one's the same one.
James. Okay, I didn't remember his last name.
I guess that is September.
It's hard name to remember, not that I recall.
Youth and disabled is in September. Deer season in September.
The snow will be here for long.
Very good.
Next are just those items for future consideration. Have you guys read that?
Mhm. That's, the first one be consider paying security camera project from the ARP, American Rescue Plan, instead of risk management.
So moved.
There's a motion and the amount was,
So you mean on the health department building?
no, this is on the security camera project.
Oh, the security
Oh,
camera.
that was
Yeah.
122,000.
I know.
We previously discussed
What's it on, what page?
that. On the security.
Is it up here?
It shows a total.
Oh, right up there on top,
That-
sorry.
The 115 was what was approved, and then we added the 6,000 of some
Yes,
for additional.
Yeah.
All right. Commissioner Gary made the motion to pay for the security camera project in the amount of $122,102.24 from the American Rescue Plan funds instead of risk management, and actually took at the July 18th meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Becker. Discussion or questions? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Is that an aye?
Aye for the yay.
Okay. That's 5-0. This one?
Aye for the yay.
Aye for the yay. I have to use aye and nay, not, just. Okay, another item was, consider moving the health department building purchase from general fund to American Rescue Plan funding, which would be appropriate because it would be for the health department building.
Well, how about we put it on lease purchase?
But we've got the American Rescue funds there to use.
I know, I just, how much are we gonna need down the road on this building? More than we think.
Yeah, that's the worst part of
I want to protest.
No, I'm not saying we should, I'm just bringing it up.
Right. I'm just trying to run through my mind. You're using funds to fund the rescue fund, which the funds are there. If it was coming out of general
Yeah,
fund.
I understand that.
If it was general
Yeah.
fund, I would
Yeah,
understand. that.
well, I'm just, I think we've talked about this multi-use building, and we really haven't nailed down what that baby's gonna cost,
Yeah.
other than it's gonna cost a lot,
Right.
more than we think.
I think hold off the lease purchase till that building comes along. We have the funds to.
We can
handle
always
it.
come back and do a lease purchase.
Okay. Yeah.
But
As far as I know, I don't know actually the statutes on that, if it has to be done within so
Well,
a certain period of time
we-
of purchase.
But
we've already purchased the building.
Right.
And that money came from general, so now what we would do is
Right.
shift the
shift
funds
funds back to general.
from rescue fund.
Yeah.
Which-
I know we don't have Tina here, and I meant to talk to her about what her thinking was about.
Well, her comment was that it would be very helpful for budget prep.
Well, are we talking about a,
160.
no, but when we start doing this, it starts raising red flags to me about liquidity. Because we're using general fund for everything, and we've got these budgets that are embedded
Right.
in general fund money.
Right. And so
Which-
that's what this is, taking it out of that, putting in rescue funds. That way it's removing it.
putting it in.
Well, it's basically reimbursing the general fund.
Right.
Right, that's
But-
what,
So-
that's what I'm,
so
that's what I mean.
it's
just-
helping the liquidity.
It's just the question I have of, Scott probably is, you know, we've had some major expenses, we've had some things that we hadn't planned on. I don't wanna see a general fund
And that-
liquidity problem.
That's what this is addressing, because currently we took it from general fund.
Right, and we're putting it back.
Tina's recommending
Right.
taking funds from rescue to put into
Right.
general.
I just wanted to verify that, is it be, just because of trying to maintain the type of liquidity
Right.
that our accountant says we should.
Right.
Which is pretty important.
And this is one of the top listed items as far as health department.
Well,
as
yeah,
far as
I mean,
using
it's
these funds.
very-
So,
Qualifies quite easily.
And that's what we should have done in our original motions, take it from rescue funds. Yeah.
so moved.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Gehring to finance, or the health department building purchase comes from American Rescue Funds instead of general fund. Second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Is that a nay?
Nay.
4-1. All be opposed. All right. What else do we have?
Budget information.
One thing we might consider, we're gonna have a bunch of expense out there. Once we find out what that's gonna be,
Yeah.
it might be appropriate time to think about alternative financing.
Yeah.
Yep. But for the time being, let's make that.
That's fine, yeah.
That shift. Yep, and then
Because
come back.
we're kinda in the dark about dollars out there.
Right, but I still come back to, it's gonna help our general fund, and I think we're in the same direction on that.
Right.
We wanna keep our healthy general fund. There's a statistical procedural letter from Department of Revenue.
It was in the packet.
Commissioners had a chance to review the Kansas Department of Revenue letter. The appraiser's office and staff are in compliance. Any questions or?
Just a special note, it says are to be commended.
Yes.
I would agree with it.
Thank you to the appraisers department for a good job.
That's all I have.
Okay, Scott Lloyd will join us.
He's on.
Oh, he's already on? If commission's ready, we'll move to Scott. Let's do it. Hello, Scott. Can you hear us?
I can hear you out in the hall, so.
Well, I can see him, and his microphone's muted. Scott, could you unmute your microphone? I disappeared.
He hit his camera button instead of his mic button.
Oh, that's something I would do.
First day on the job.
Can I unmute it?
When you clicked on it, it blanked out his image. Did you give him the screen somehow?
There's, okay, Scott, I see you're unmuted. Can you hear us? There you are. Can you hear us?
Wave at him.
Is that the right camera or is it that camera?
That one over there.
He's waving. Eric?
Just
I
not-
can't hear you. Are you trying to get me?
Yes. Now we can hear you. Can you hear us? Can't hear us. We're
We're
on.
not muted.
It's strange.
Scott, can you hear us now?
Use your telephone.
No, that's hard. for everybody to hear
I
on the cell
know,
phone.
I know, it's awful hard, but at least he can communicate,
Yeah.
know that we're not hearing him.
Are you typing something?
I think I have his number.
I don't have his number.
That's Clark.
Give his new card.
I got his new card here.
This isn't his new card.
Go ahead.
There's a new card.
His
Oh,
new
that's
card's
the
blue.
other one. There.
Yeah.
The one that's like a credit card, right?
There you go.
It's 620
Okay.
654
He's gonna try to reconnect.
7565.
You can call up the.
Yeah, Scott, we could hear you, but you apparently can't hear us. That's why I'm just calling just so you can use this for communication.
Okay, I was trying to reconnect here real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm not sure, why I was on this morning with Laura. Let's see here. Okay, Mike is on, and
We know it's not our
Cam is
end.
on. Okay, here we go.
You're gonna start getting the feedback if it works.
Everything, you got the green line
So
on?
you can hear me?
There we go.
Yes, we hear you.
Hang on.
How about us?
Okay, I'll leave you, I guess, I don't know what the problem is. I'll leave you on speakerphone here on my cell, and, we can try this.
Okay, I'll shut you off then.
Does that work?
Turn
Can you hear us? Nope.
Evidently not.
Can you hear us?
Okay, I'm not sure, I don't see, I'm not as familiar with GoToMeeting, so I'm not sure why you're not hearing me.
on. We're not turned on here.
We're hearing you. We can hear you.
We can hear
I mean,
you.
I'm not sure why I'm not hearing you, that's the,
Yeah, yep.
okay, well, okay, are you ready for me, or?
Yeah,
I did.
Dave,
Dave in the back behind you?
I did.
hang on a second, Scott.
Yeah, it's on.
Dave, what do you want to do here?
Just use the phone.
Use the phone, let him go ahead?
Yeah.
Well, you can actually call in to the GoToMeeting. There's a phone number to call,
Yeah.
and then that allows your phone to work as your microphone or your ears.
Anything we can get a little more volume on.
Yeah, Scott, you wanna call in
No, he probably can't hear you.
Johnny, can you get the microphones turned
Why
on?
is that thing funny now?
I don't know,
They're not turned on.
What number do you want Scott to call?
1-866-899-46.
899?
Yes, 899, then what's the last one?
It's on the agenda right up there on the screen, if you can see
Oh, okay,
With the code too.
it. With the code. access code.
4679, okay. So call in instead of doing a Zoom, or what are you saying?
Yeah, just call that in, and then your phone will become your speaker and your mic. And then you just mute your
Okay.
computer.
All right, I'm hanging up. Thank you, Scott.
Okay, thanks.
Is the top one outdated?
That's from let's get the trash. Keep that back in your drawer. I'm not planning on breaking into any buildings. Need that credit card.
It's handy for that.
I wish you'd have had a magnetic stripe on the back. I'd have run his bill up. Is phone coming through? Sometimes it's a USB. She's got to unplug it and do weird things.
Where,
Right there on that bridge.
This one?
Yeah.
Your camera works.
Yeah, you turned your camera on.
You entered no digits. Please re-enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign.
Well, it should be that camera.
Scott's on now.
So how do I switch cameras?
Enable audio control. Please enter your audio followed by the pound or
It's a
hash
right
sign.
click somewhere.
If you do not have a pen, just press
Maybe
pound
on
or
your
hash.
screen that's looking at you.
This conference will now be recorded.
Stop sharing my cam.
Okay, hold on right here.
Can you hear us?
Okay, you hear me?
We can hear you.
I hear you.
Okay,
Good. That's where we need to be.
let's give it a try.
Sorry about that, I don't know what's going on. You know, back in the old days, I would be there at the Marion County Commission meeting today, but, I don't know, I didn't feel well over the weekend, and I haven't been tested, but I didn't want to take a chance with you, so.
Understood.
Okay, does Ashley, have the, did she get the email I sent her today about noon?
Oh, not new.
The answer is no.
I don't have the one from noon. I have one that Tina sent us.
Okay, yeah, I've got another. Okay.
He said he has another one that he
But,
sent. She doesn't have the light on the left.
anyway, I'll talk, I don't know if that's where she went to check
Yeah,
the email.
Scott, I'm sorry,
about
she
that.
went to get it.
Yes.
I printed out.
I don't see, I'm trying to find the share on go to meeting, but I don't see the share right in front of me. Okay, sorry. Okay, what I did is, I'll just talk and then, if you make copies of that, you can see what is, but you should have an email from Tina where she reviewed, the budget over the weekend. We worked on it on Saturday and then I think she reviewed it maybe on Sunday again. And she had a few questions in her big, long email, and you should have had that in, you should have the whole budget on what she reviewed, and then you should have the points that she made in her email. And so, if you're looking at that, I don't know if you're looking at that on your laptop there. The first question I wasn't sure about, but it must have been directed towards Kent, and about the special equipment and the payments made, and it looks like that's all in shape. Is that right?
It's printing, so.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then the second paragraph she had was about the ambulance, and we went on and put the 1.2 million in there.
It's a camera, it's a Logitech. That's
Okay.
I got the camera back, but I don't know how to get the mics to work.
So they're still looking at us?
Yeah, we can hear him.
Yes. Yeah, we're getting by now.
Do you want me to continue, or are you waiting to do something?
No, you're good.
Okay, so the 1.2 million with the ambulance, we added that in. What I sent Ashley today was the actual changes on the next, well, not on the next one, but on the one following one. The next one was just ARPA, and I'm waiting for Carlotta to double check me on that, about taking the health department building and reimbursing it with ARPA funds. I don't think there's any problem with that. I just wanted her to double check, since she's worked with Tina and Ashley a lot more on that. here recently. The fourth paragraph had to do with the debt service. And so what had happened on that is originally there was a transfer. We had showed it, I think, one of the first meetings. And then talking to David Arterberry, we thought it'd probably be better to do a levy in the debt service fund. And then after doing that review on the weekend, Tina had changed it to back to a transfer from the general fund to the debt service fund. Her and I talked this morning about just what I told you, and so my handout, my email, has it back as a levy out of the debt service fund. So sorry about the confusion, but I put the sheets I put in my email this morning or today were the sheets that changed from the email that you received from Tina showing the whole budget, so that we could go through them and you could see what changed based on that and other things between the levy on the general fund and the levy on the debt service fund. The last big paragraph on Tina's email has to do with the 5% COLA. And I didn't do anything with that because I was waiting to hear from you all today. And the way this works is we have to have it to the paper, or try to have it to the paper by Friday. So we needed to make the decision today on what you wanted me to do. And I didn't want to go through and change a bunch of things and then you decide not to do it. So it'll be pretty easy for me to make these changes once you decide how you want to handle it. Did she make copies of this for you? You have it yet?
We have Tina's copies for everybody, and I'm printing off the one that you sent. So we're waiting on that to be brought in.
Okay, sorry about that, Ashley. So, I'll just give you a highlight of on the pages I gave you, and then when you get it, you'll understand what changed. So, because it was a transfer that Tina changed it to, I went back and took the transfer back out. So the transfer page will change. You'll see that when you get your handout. Since the levy amount on the general fund changed, because it's no longer a transfer but a levy in the debt service fund, I changed the places in the general fund that changed to reduce the levy in the general fund and add the levy in the debt service fund. The one other thing I noted in the general fund is in the middle column of 6A, you'll see that she added in the health building, and then that was a question she had about whether to use ARPA funds for that, to reimburse that. Right now it's showing as an expenditure out of the general fund in the middle column under multiple purpose building. So where it's the 500,000 we were saving, that's where she put that in the middle column for, I think it's 210,000. And that didn't quite match up because she said something about 160,000 in the health department. So I wasn't sure if I forgot to ask her this, 160 was the amount that we reimbursed by ARPA. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We just took action on that this morning.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
I said we just took action on that this morning at 160,000 to be paid by the ARPA funds instead of.
Okay.
Sounds
good. You want me to wait for the handout?
We got it.
We got it.
You got it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the email, I just made notes on Tina's email. Is that the first page you got there?
Yes.
We have it.
Okay. So let's just start this again so we'll make sure we're all on the same page. So the first second paragraph had to do with Kent's questions on special equipment and what is due in 2023. I think he answers everything there. There is a balloon payment on a skid steer for $32,811. You see that?
Yep.
Okay, so I think we got that taken care of unless Kent has other questions. The second paragraph had to do with the ambulance. We put the 1.2 million in there. I haven't done any more with that. And as I said, as we talk about down here later, has to do with the 5% COLA. So the ambulance is noted the way it is right there. The $160,000 purchase of the health department is taken out of the middle column. So if you would flip back, see actually the 4th page in your handout today, you will see a circled number that Tina had put in, 210,000. And I have a question out there about health department. It sounds like you took care of that this morning and made a motion to reimburse ARPA, or reimburse that out of ARPA. So we'll have to, Tina and I will talk about that. That would actually potentially be cash added to the number right below there, 1,184,000 if we're reimbursing it out of ARPA. It wouldn't be out of general fund, so that would go back into your cash carryover. And then, before I flip back to these other pages, the 4th paragraph down, or 5th paragraph down, is where I had changed it from a transfer back to debt service. And David Arterbury had said that. So if you look, we'll just flip now to the 2nd page. I took the on the handout you have emailed to you, there was a transfer on the transfer schedule that has been taken out. So that's no longer there. Transfer from general to debt service, that's been taken off. The reason I have the next page in there is the neighborhood revitalization rebate had to change because of the reduction in the levy in general fund and the levy added to debt service. So I'm just giving you the pages that changed compared to what you were emailed. The next page, 6A, we've already talked about the health department building. We've already talked about the reason the cash carryover reduced there because the expenditure was removed and the levy was reduced. So the levy there is $3,447,492 now. The next page, I'm going to try to explain this the best I can, and then you all kind of have to talk about it. It's not something that will change the levy, but what you had done, and I didn't circle the middle column, but what you had done when the transfer was shown is, if you look at the middle column, right before the arrow is, you go over and it's 1.181166. Middle column is the transfer to capital improvement of 7 mills. So what had happened in the 2023 column is the transfer to capital improvement was reduced by the $645,000 transfer that was shown in Tina's correction to the general fund. And I took that line out, the transfer out, so it says a remove debt service transfer, because we were trying to stay in line with what David Arterbury had recommended. The question that is here really is the capital improvement, in a sense, is paying for that levy because you're not transferring. And this is where you need to decide what you want to do here. But transferring the 1,181,000, or it'll be a little bit different because of sales tax, and changing that 535,749 that I'm arrowed to there. So if that stays down, in a sense, the capital improvement's not being transferred to as much, and in a sense, that is allowing that money, instead of being transferred to capital improvement, to help fund the debt service levy. I don't know if that all makes sense, but that's the way it was shown. So Tina and I, we can talk about it too and see what you all want to do on that. Because if you look at the next page, it's the debt service levy. And originally what happened here is Tina had it up there at the top, the transfer in from the general fund for $645,417. And then I had to take out the amount of neighborhood revitalization of $6,381 and reduce cash below. So that's where the levy, got it back to the levy of $645,417. Does that make sense at all?
I'm seeing a lot of puzzled looks.
What
I
is
didn't
the,
hear what you said, somebody.
what is the question then that we're gonna have to decide today?
Well,
Scott?
the thing, okay, here's what's happened. I'm getting feedback. Am I not on? Let's see here.
You're good.
Okay, anyway. Okay, so I don't know if there's a decision you have to make right now. I'm just trying to explain on page 6C.
So you're just basically
Under
taking
the road and bridge, in the past, there was 7 mil transferred to capital improvement. And in that 2023 column, that was reduced to make the transfer over to debt service. And in a sense, capital improvement transfer was funding the amount of the debt service on those bonds.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. You're still paying for it out of capital improvement. You're just having to transfer it to debt services in order to do so.
Yeah, so I did not change that number, the 535,749. So even though the general fund is not paying for it, in a sense, the capital improvement is paying for it because we're not transferring as much over to capital improvement out of the general fund. Because you wanted to keep the mill levy at 75.017.
Yeah.
And so to do that, I had to, let me look here. I had to transfer, the general fund over to the debt service fund, the $645,417, and reduce the general fund. So I don't know if there's a decision you have to make today. I just wanted to make you aware of that. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Is that gonna affect our liquidity much in the general fund then, Scott?
No, because what you're doing, if you leave the 535 the way it is, no more cash is going out of the general fund. You're just not levying as much. So in a sense, it's a zero. So if you look back one page to the cash carry forward, I got it circled there, 1,184.
Yeah.
And I don't have, let me look here real quick. I don't have that number in front of me. I just gotta, let me try something real quick here. Okay, so you have about, your monthly expenditures are about 500,000. So you're down to close to 2 months there, based on that cash carry forward there. But there's a lot of lines up here that probably won't be spent to the full extent. Plus, you can add back at least 160,000 for the health department ARPA fund reimbursement. Well, that gets you close to 3 months of expenditures and cash carryover.
So you're not concerned about cash carryover?
Well, that's before we talk about the 5% down below. Okay. I'm getting some positive feedback. I don't know if you're even hearing me or not.
Now we're hearing you.
Hear you.
So this straightens out the debt service levy, okay? And then if you look, going back, I want to show you, if you look on the publication page, I marked it at the top, the change in levy. The general fund has a 3.825 in it. We changed it to the debt service, so that's changed, but the total did not change. So we're still at 75.017. And then the last page of this part, I put in the next page, 25. It shows the neighborhood revitalization was changed between general and debt service. So those are all the changes based on that debt service change that's in the email. I know there's a lot going on there, but I think down the road it's going to be a lot cleaner just to have that debt service levy paid to those bonds that you just are working on. And then we'll talk about cash carryover here in just a little bit here. Okay, any questions on either the ARPA, on the health department in the general fund, or the debt service levy?
Nope, we're good.
Okay. The last paragraph. So what I did in this email I sent with the extra sheets, you've got them probably, but the last 2 pages are the budget worksheet to show personnel that would show the July step raise, which is the first one, and then they worked up the 5% January COLA and step raise. So the difference by doing that 5% that she talks about there is the 6.2 million minus the 5.9 million. So you have 305,917. So I didn't think about this till too late here, but and maybe Tina has this somewhere. But if you take all these departments on that page that shows the 305,917 difference, the only thing I did not do is break out how much of that is charged to general fund, and then the rest of the funds are broke out separately. So we don't have the difference of that 305, at least I didn't. Maybe Tina gave that to you in another email or another correspondence. That's the only question I have left after looking all this over, is when you go back to the general fund and you have the 1.1 million cash carryover plus the 160,000 of ARPA reimbursement, so you're getting close to 1.5 million. How much of this 305,917 actually will hit the general fund? Because I think she must have that. I'm sure she has it somewhere. I just don't have it in my email here. I think it would be, if I'm right, I think it would be from 95,004 down to 402,507 communications. That would be the total with the COLA. I just don't have the difference, I don't think, calculated. Yeah, I wouldn't have the difference calculated in those same departments. I could maybe do that with the doctor and email Ashley so you would know that. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, between the last 2 pages here, you've got this just with the step raises, and then the last page shows with step raise and COLA.
That's right, absolutely. So she had went through and made these calculations, Tina had, and of that 305,917, I don't know what the difference is in the general fund to be able to answer your question of how much cash is going to be hit in the general fund in 2023 without making a calculation. I didn't see that number anywhere.
Right.
So the rest of these funds under communications, down ambulance, I think ambulance, we would put 1.2 million in, and it's 1,246,000 here. But when you look at the rest of these are funds on their own. And so we could look, we'd have to look at the differences by fund and see if the cash carryovers are impacted. Because at this point, we already have set the levy at 75.017. The total expenditures are set, well, they're not published yet, you could change that. But if that's the way you publish, then this COLA difference here would come out of cash carryover in the 23 budget.
Yeah, so there doesn't need to be a line item. Right.
You want me to, when I get off here, do you want me to make that calculation the best I can and then send it to Ashley so you know?
Oh, because it's just going to come out of the cash carryover anyway, right?
Yeah.
But when that time comes, so not much, not until we decide we're going to go through with something. I don't know that we need to know the impact.
That's right. Yeah, you know what the total impact is here, the 305.
Yeah.
It's just gonna get cash carryover in every fund. And it looks, I think most of the funds have a pretty good cash carryover, so it's not like you'd be in trouble. I didn't have that number in front of me. And Gene and I are gonna talk tomorrow morning, I believe, and go over all this, make sure I'm on the same page with her. And then we'll have, I'm sure she'll email something out to you, and then we'll try to get this published, the publication done by Friday. You don't want to miss, when you're over the revenue neutral rate, you do not want to miss the publication. I had a city that the paper did not get it in the paper, so they had to go from the from the amount they wanted to publish down to the revenue neutral rate. It cost them about $18,000 on a small city.
Yeah.
It's so sad. But anyway.
Well, the other thing,
that's kind of scary. I don't want to miss any publications. Dude.
the other thing to take note of, Scott, was just today we took I don't know where the security cameras were at, but we pulled that from ARPA instead of risk management.
Oh, okay.
So
That should also
That's
help.
on. Yep. Security cameras.
yeah, the security camera project, so it has access control attributes built into the project so that it would qualify for ARPA.
Okay. How much was that? Do you remember?
122,000.
1.2 million?
No, 122,000.
Oh, 122. Okay. I go, oh, wow.
Yeah, 122,102.24.
Okay. Thank you.
I just now realized it's at the top of the information slide.
It's right there in front of us. Didn't see it.
Okay. Any other questions I can answer, or any other thing you want to look at? I will say that Tina did an awesome job reviewing this as always. She went through and made a bunch of, they're pretty small changes. I didn't want to go through and copy and send all that to you, but I think we've got it down to where it's these 4 or 5 things that I wanted to bring to your attention, and then also what to do on the COLA.
Scott,
Yeah.
in the last 5 years, would you give us, with some of your extraordinary figuring there, what we've went in each year for the last 5 years with a cash carryover, and compare what we're doing this year to the last 5?
Compare that to the last 5 cash
Yeah.
carryovers?
Yeah.
Yeah, trending.
Yeah. Yeah. I did that for Pratt in Ottawa, and I did not do it this year, but I could do it really easily. and I could send you an email. You want me to do that?
Yes, please.
Okay. So what I did for them, you just tell me if you want this. I don't think it'd take that much to do it, because I've got a lot of history with you all. As I went through, because I didn't have history with them, and they had no idea where their expenditures, in total, by department, by fund, their expenditures, their receipts, and their cash carryovers. And it really is a helpful thing to look at and then get an average also of those expenditures and receipts over the last 5 years, 5 years. And but I could do that pretty quickly, I think. I could send it to Tina.
Yeah, that
And
works.
tomorrow morning we can kind of look at it, and then she could forward it to you. Does that
Yes,
work?
yes,
Yeah, that'd be good.
yes.
Okay. I really apologize for not being there in person, but I want to keep you guys from, I don't know what I've got, so. I know this isn't perfect, but anyway.
I bet it'll work. No problems. You can't be here, you can't be here, Scott.
Say that one more time?
I said if you don't know what you got, you don't want to be here, and we appreciate that too, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay, Tina and I'll talk again in the morning. And, like I said, I think it's Friday, you said we have to have it to paper.
Yes.
But I'll try to get those done either this afternoon or first thing in the morning, comparison, so you can have those to think about. And then, if there's anything else comes out of it when her and I talk in the morning, I'm sure she'll let you know.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks again for your patience. Yeah. Have a great day.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
Yeah, see you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Comments from the commission about budget changes?
No. I got a feeling with the EMS changes on pay that the ripple effect is getting ready to start, so it's gonna be a hard sell on the 5% COLA.
So you're saying more?
Well, I'm just saying, all the other departments are gonna start. So.
Too few tax dollars chasing higher wages, higher benefits, higher, and there's no good answer for that without higher taxes, which none of us want.
Yeah.
Higher taxes are a whole lot more population compared.
That is correct, yeah. I mean,
All I know is the first year I was on, was kind of simple, it was trying to bail through that. Scott said, in the end, and of course it's kind of that way in banking, liquidity is everything. If you don't have any liquidity, you know that business. You have no liquidity, you have no opportunity. And I've seen our cash carryover slowly gone down. When I started out, we were at about 4 months operating.
yeah.
Last year, I think we were about 2. Not sure how we're gonna end up.
Well, you gotta keep in mind too that nobody wants any higher taxes, but the value of the dollar, basically, the percentage of your cash carryover. So if you had $1 million last year and you got $1 million this year, your $1 million is worth less this year.
You're not hearing
Not the
apples
same
to apples,
price.
that's for sure.
Well, we've tried holding the mill levy down, but yet, we just got done with a project on roads. By the way, I'll give us a B. I like an A on it, but there's some things that just just could
There's a
have
couple-
improved on, and.
Couple spots.
And so, it is, but anyway, you know, it's a nice road. It's a good road. It's, something that everybody travels it better stop and say, well, thank you, I'll pay my taxes for it, because road cost is going, we know what
Yeah.
road cost goes to. And they want the best of roads. They don't want ones that vibrate after we redone them. We get a lot of, I haven't had no complaints on this road, the new road so far, Indigo. But yet, you know, I haven't had too many, well, thank you. And that's a surprise, you know, and so I like the road.
Let me tell you, you're not gonna get very many thank yous.
Actually,
It's not part of
Actually,
the
I
job.
got quite a few.
I got a thank you from out of the city of Hillsborough.
Yeah.
Not from any individuals.
I got it from a lot of individuals running to Hillsborough.
Well, you
From
live there,
out
that's
there.
a little different. I don't live there and
Sure.
stuff, and so, but anyway, it's a nice project, and I'll just tell you why I give it a B, is because Highway 50 down there at where 13 Mile Road comes out, Indigo comes out on Highway 50. On the west side going to Hillsborough, they run their overflow when they redid the road, they run it on out, and it's just as smooth as, but the east side, you drive towards the east side, and you go bloop, bloop, boom. And that's the same thing we lacked on this road, is making our runoffs nice and smooth out there, 15, 20 feet, so that people get on that road nice and they get off that road nice. And when you don't do that, you remember it every time you do it. This Highway 50, it's been 4 or 5 years, and I just wish Highway 50 would have run it out the same on both sides, so.
So back to the budget. Any other issues on the budget?
When are we gonna make this decision on this 5%?
When we do, it's gonna come out of the cash carryover anyway, so.
Right.
Also gonna have to remember on 23, I believe our scheduled transfers for debt service are gonna have to go up. Where they are now. That's another thing that's
That would come out of the general fund.
right.
I'm just
Where
saying.
it has to come from.
Transfers always get brought up.
I mean, we do have to have enough there to make the payments, but we can't overdraw the general fund either.
So on the COLA, is your wish to look at other options and go ahead with the budget as it is and try to tackle that since it's gonna come out of general fund anyway? Or do you want to make a decision on the COLA?
I don't think we need to yet, do we?
No, I got a feeling there'll be other impacts coming into play.
Or look at other alternatives, other options? As
You know,
John has said,
if we were actually following COLA, it'd have to be a lot higher than 5%.
Yeah.
So what are we gaining?
well,
I mean,
by doing nothing.
We've done premium pay, we've done pay plan. I know we're gonna have to do something, but, you know, it's not gonna be right on the COLA, because, you know, they're gonna say, well, the Social Security people are gonna get 8.5% at least. You know?
We're already looking at the pay plan, whether or not it even fits.
Well,
And it was just done, so
right.
that's gonna come into play. And I think the employees would rather have us tackle that than the 5%.
Well, then we need to come up with a.
You're gonna have to come up with the way how you plan to fund it.
How you're doing it.
Yeah, I know.
But regardless, it's not gonna change our budget.
No,
I guess that's what I'm trying to get to is conclusion on the budget.
Yeah.
no.
If there's any other decisions we need to
Ready to
make.
move ahead with it, get it published.
We have to approve, take action to approve a budget, don't we? But we don't know the final number. We do it contingent upon.
Our already approved the
Mill levy.
mill levy. So, I mean, when you can't change mill levy, so therefore you can't change the budget.
And basically, if you can't change the
bottom
levy, you
line.
already know what your excess over R&R is. But the one thing that you do have to do in this case, if you're making the motion to approve that for publication, roll call vote, because the statute requires it on the R&R excess.
Roll call.
So do we do it on, but this is gonna change. Depending
Well, the
on-
internal portion of it, but your end result in terms of publication for maximum is not going to.
Move forward with our,
Yeah.
So your recommendation be to approve the budget as it was presented?
Yes.
mm,
Well,
I think there's gonna be some changes.
yeah.
as amended, as per today.
Yeah, if you're confident that those are the only changes, then yeah, I would do it that way.
It's
Because
gonna have to be.
the only other alternative you'll have is to have to schedule a special.
Come in
But
Friday.
do we just approve the publication?
End result's gonna be the same.
Since we said
You're approving one, yeah,
Interviews.
Well, they told me.
I got told it.
for Friday.
As far as I'm concerned, there's none. I haven't told them.
You know that?
Sherry's working on it. She said she talked to all of you.
But
I
she's
know
planning
it's
on a
scheduled.
Friday.
She asked when we had free time, so.
Well,
She
you
told
could
me
do
to be
that
here on Friday.
So
Huh?
make sure
She just
you
told
have
me to
some-
be here on Friday.
I call make free time.
Okay.
Puberty.
I just told them which day I couldn't be. That's what I never heard back.
So,
No, she
would
asked.
you recommend approving the budget, and then if we need to change that motion, we can do so on Friday? Or wait until Friday?
I just want to get to.
Okay, then we'll wait and not take action.
But don't,
And then if we don't come in Friday, we'll have to have,
Special.
Call a special meeting anyway. yeah.
Phone it in.
Yep, you could do that.
do a phone
Why do we
meeting.
have to wait till Friday?
We don't. Jonah says we're meeting Friday.
so why don't we go ahead and prove it today?
Because you don't know what the
Because we
other
don't know what
changes
the-
will be. Based on what he's going to do with Tina tomorrow.
Bottom line's not gonna change anything.
Right.
But some of the published lines might.
So,
They have,
Well,
we have
that's
to,
I mean,
KSA.
is it just at the end, the bottom figures of,
but we still have to have a roll call vote on the final budget.
Yeah, it's
So it probably would be.
line by line.
Yeah.
That's why you have to have your budget amendments and stuff, because it's line by line, and it's what gets you into trouble. It isn't actually the bottom line, because you never go over.
Okay, we'll wait and hold a special meeting. Because Tina will be sending out updates from Scott, right?
Yeah. Yeah, tomorrow.
This first stack's probably no good then.
First stack will go in the trash.
Probably no good.
Okay. And the second one will probably have quite a few changes. Well, not quite a few, but it will
Right,
have
so.
Well,
modifications.
it'll have some changes everywhere there's an arrow.
Right, but you already know what the changes are. But yes, the first one is completely. Very well, we will have a special meeting to approve the budget once all the final corrections are made. Okay, we've got 15 minutes. How about we have a executive session?
I would use one that would be helpful to do before we get to the meeting.
Okay, is this one personnel?
Let's do it as potential litigation.
Potential litigation. All right. I move that we recess an executive session in order to discuss potential litigation pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. I guess that would be 2, consultation with our attorney, attorney-client privilege, with the commission, Brad, Ashley,
She can if she wishes, it's not going to require her.
for 15 minutes from 1:45 to 2 o'clock.
Purpose being
Second.
potential litigation.
Potential litigation, second by Commissioner Gehring. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We'll be back at 2 o'clock.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Need a little buzzer.
Electrification.
Yeah.
We need to slip that.
No, that way when the 3-minute timer goes off.
Okay.
We're good to go. All right, we're out of executive session. No decisions made. We'll move into Sharon's report. Sharon?
Good afternoon.
After.
Okay. Could you please take one of these and pass them down? This is an abbreviated packet from what you received in your board packets. mainly the pictures.
It was in the packet.
Now, there was more in the pictures, or more in the packet.
Was it an email?
Yes, you know.
Okay, so we have a vacation petition for a portion of East Shore Road, which is also, it was renamed 213th in the East Shore plat. This request was initiated by Stephen and John Harrell and Daniel and Jocelyn Venable. They're both adjacent property owners to this portion of road. In one of the exhibits, you can see where it just looks like some lots and blocks. There's a 50-foot road right-of-way that was platted into the East Shore plat. And I would assume that was meant for future expansion to the subdivision, but it was never developed. There are two other areas in the East Shore plat that were similar to this, and those have all been vacated prior to this. This is the last one remaining. And so the vacation petition is for, you can see there south of lot 11, block H, the 20-foot strip, and then the one north of lot 1, block I. That would leave a 10-foot easement down the center of that road for utilities. And then any other easements of record would remain. And the Planning Commission met on August 4th and has recommended approval of this vacation. Also that the 10-foot easement remain, and also that all building setbacks remain.
Was notification given to the utility companies?
No. Because the utility easement will remain.
Yeah. Yeah, 10 foot, which before it was 50 foot. I mean, you could go anywhere in the 50 foot. So what happens if there's a line in one of these 20 foots and you vacate it and give it back to the owner and the gas line there that feeds that whole back area back there? What are we gonna do then?
Well, they would, if anything was built over the easement, all the easements still remain. If there was a prior easement that was filed, that easement remains. So if they build over it, that's the property owner's responsibility
Yeah, they have
to
to pay
either
they have to pay to
remove
relocate it.
or, right, or it damages done to the property owner's structure or property, then that's kind of on them, from my understanding. It might be a good question for legal counsel.
You're right.
That's a good response.
Well, folks, I can take and give you an aerial picture. I've walked this whole area for 35 years and read meters every month, except for the last 3 or 4. Not every month, the last 3 or 4. But there's all kinds of buildings out here that is over the easement, building easements. These are a prime example. This one on the 2138 Schlachauer has just been done within the last, since this owner here, it's been added on there and done. There is a 2-car garage right here inside the blue line, but this other one's just been put up recently.
I think 2013 maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
10 years.
Yeah, but I say, and I think, I'm not for sure, but I believe that line, there's a gas line that goes back here and right down the middle of this somewhere. Not down the middle. If it's down the middle, it'd be fine, but it's over here on this side, if I remember right. It's real close to this building here. I don't know the 20 foot. So you go ahead and vacate it, and that line is over here within this 20 foot. Then the landowner's gonna go to the gas company and say, you move your line.
Well, they can go to them, but they're not gonna do it.
Right. There's an ancillary problem. I see exactly what you're saying. The statute requires that we maintain any and all easements in existence at the time of the vacation, so that even if someone gets the surface right usage, The easement still exists, and any attendant requirements for ingress, egress stick with it, and it is there, and if you obstruct it in any way, shape, or form, it's gonna be the landowner's problem unless there's something extraordinary that we're not aware about. I am still a little troubled though on an ancillary element of that in the ingress, egress. I haven't checked that, and I probably should, because sometimes that thing says 50 feet for purposes of ingress, egress, and that is an absolute for purposes of the utility companies going forward in perpetuity. And if it is, and these buildings are on it, we probably have to do a little bit of additional work to recognize the realities of what are there, and maybe even have some bad news for a property owner. Not that we would necessarily require that they take it off, but that if the utility company ever comes in, they can take a high loader and not even slow down, and you'll have a third of what your building was on the property, and they're not required to put it back up.
Yeah,
So they're building a fence.
It's crazy over the last 35 years what I've seen go on out there and not get, you know, you'd come out there, I wouldn't be there for 30 days, and all of a sudden when I come back, there'd be a garage up.
Yeah.
And just because years ago, they did not apply for a building permit.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess what puzzles me is in the staff recommendation in the motion, it says that all building setbacks and any utility or other easements of record be maintained.
Right.
So it's covered.
I know back in a long time ago when I was on planning and zoning, we had all kinds of issues out there because everybody was within 6 feet of the
Yes.
property line. If it wasn't on the property line or over the property line.
Right. But wouldn't that address your concern if all of utility easements?
Well, just so it's understood that, I don't know, you might be able to give them the right to use the surface, but they can't build over something. I mean, like.
Not a permanent structure.
You couldn't build a permanent structure over it. That's something to that effect.
You could, but you'd have to be willing to accept the fact that if utility didn't go through there, they'd take it out.
You accept the risk.
It's like putting up a fence on your
But
property.
also, all the liability attendant to it, if you have a high pressure line, can't be within 100 feet of that thing.
Yeah, and this is just a service this area
Okay.
is what it does. And then this area back to the east back here was always, I heard 35 years ago when I started, oh, that's gonna be developed back there. So right now, East Shore is, if you do this, East Shore is completely enclosed and it'll never go nowhere.
It's done.
It's done. Until either a landowner, well, I don't know if you could ever get, you'd have to buy it back. I think the last time I voted for this, it was the north one up here, north.
In the
Yeah, in the
In the
corner.
corner up here, and I said something to the effect, as long as this one stayed open, we're getting back here, so you probably know my answer. I'm not voting for it.
The other thing that you can do is, if those questions are something that all of you want express answers to, you can simply vote to remand it back and have our able director take it to her board once again and review those things for express answers.
I guess I come back to what are you gonna change? I mean, you're still gonna recommend that the easements remain.
That's just it. I would need some specific direction
What
as
do
to
you,
what to
what
take
what
back
is,
to my board.
what do you want changed? You don't want the road vacated, period.
Well, not really, no. I mean, and this, if you look at this map here, or the one that's a couple
Yeah.
pages back, that's been there since, this map here has been what everybody has went off since that East Shore was built.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for these things. And then all of a sudden, what you're doing is, this person's, if you look at that picture, the one on the south's built every square inch that you possibly can.
Well, even past.
And more. And that's fine, I don't, as long as it's your property, but there's a reason for this, and this one's been here, all those others has been there ever since day one too, so, I don't know, I've dealt with so many property lines and things over the years, that they're there for a reason. If somebody plowed them good, why, I'll leave them. I mean, it hasn't hurt a thing for 35 years. Why is it all of a sudden now we gotta do it?
I wish I had some better pictures. The actual road, 213th, which is East Shore Road, it's just over 10 feet wide, the actual surface of the road. So if you look at this map that's in color that has the aerial view of it, that road would basically just extend through there still. You'd be keeping a 10-foot portion of that road open.
You can still access the pasture,
Mhm.
if you could get through the trees
Mhm.
and the
But
barbed
it's
wire
over
and
10
everything.
foot.
Even though they don't use that road.
Yeah,
They come in from the south.
yeah, the landowners don't use it, no.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, Randy.
I mean, we asked for, just, if we go back to saying 10 foot, then let's just open it up the Marion County Lake to 10 foot. See what you get out there.
Let's not talk about
I
the
mean,
Marion County Lake right
It is
well, I mean,
It's 10 foot already.
what we gotta do is treat one place the same as we treat another one.
Mhm.
That's what we gotta do. And I'm gonna stick to my 50 foot. I've got 50 foot there. If I ever had to build a road, I could build it for 50. Even though I think the state's statute 60. I don't know.
Yeah. You can technically knock them out
Yep.
right now.
So some of this stuff was never permitted evidently, especially the one that's over the,
No. And you
Over
go
the blue line.
yeah.
Is that a Connex?
No, one is an actual garage, the one on the north is a garage, and the one on the south is a carport.
It's like mobile home.
Oh, it's cardboard. Gotcha.
And-
Yeah.
But the one on the north is a garage.
Yeah, yeah.
So if we don't do something, then they're actually in a violation.
They would be non-compliant, yes.
So if we actually had a building inspector, that probably wouldn't have happened.
Well,
You got it.
you've had a planning and zoning person, and we've had to go for permits in the county, but they never was. If you could take this whole picture of the issue out there, I can walk you right down this picture and show you which ones are over the easement, building easements.
Yeah.
I mean, there's garages, 2 or 3 of them built.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
are, and they're over the sewer line even. That's what's really, they're over the main sewer line.
Is
Is
the
that over there?
more square one that is an actual garage?
Doesn't matter.
Sitting on
Yeah,
it?
the one that's sitting.
There's a
over-
Where the
car,
blue
there's
line
a
goes
car in
through?
front of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I addressed that in my staff report.
Yep.
That,
You did.
you know, both of those structures were not in compliance. And so, you know, the benefit of approving the vacation would be that it would bring both of these properties into compliance as far as setbacks go. And it would also, I mean, those portions of the road that are vacated would become part of they would be taxed. Those property owners would be paying taxes on them. They maintain them right now and they have for years. And the negative side of approving the vacation, as Mr. Dahlke stated, is there could potentially be an easement issue with the utility company.
Are they operating under some time constraint here that's extraordinary? If it were another week? Probably what I would ask the board to do is set it over to next week's agenda so we're not unnecessarily delaying. Let me do a little bit of research and check with Sharon on a couple of things.
We
And you know,
do-
it doesn't necessarily have to be
Move table it for a week.
Sharon.
We do also have a planning commission meeting this Thursday. I don't know if that's too soon. We don't have to public notice to take something back to the
No.
planning commission.
No, and if I had questions, then I could direct them to you or show up. I've got a meeting, but get them to, advise on certain things in terms of what they consider, just so we make a good record.
Okay.
Okay, got a motion.
Sorry.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
I do know that like out at the county lake, there have been some structures or concrete or things that were over easements for the improvement district, and they had the property owners sign a waiver basically
Mhm.
stating that they acknowledge that if any work should need to be done to those utilities under their property, that whatever's in the way will either be, they'll have this much time to remove it, or if the improvement
That's
district
exactly what
has
I
to
had in
remove
mind,
it, then.
so, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
They
We
made
got-
more.
Right.
I had a motion from Commissioner Garing to table for 1 week, then a second by Commissioner Dahlke. Discussion. And Sharon, this will not adversely affect the applicant. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried 5-0. One's a car.
We don't have any type of policing for enforcement where we can go out and notice a
Yes.
homeowner
Yes.
that they are built over property lines.
We do have that process. We don't have
yeah.
the staff, and we don't.
But I mean, this is basically their reason for wanting the vacation, so they can come into compliance.
They claim that they didn't realize that the property line was where it's at. And if you went out there,
Well, yeah, but
I can
that's
see where.
that's their
Yes, you're right.
responsibility to find
You're right.
out.
You are right about that.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right, but that's what they
Somebody
claim,
move that damn bush.
and this would be a
Used to be this
way
bush,
to
now it's
help
this
remediate that issue.
Cut the
Yeah,
tree down.
it's just, it was vacant ground and all the landowners has ever lived there. In 35 years that I've seen
Yeah,
them
like,
taking care of
there's a
it.
street here, and
Really?
there's nobody using it, let's
Yeah.
build something.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Sharon,
Okay.
we did have some questions, so we'll table it for a week, let you and
Yeah.
Brad discuss a little more, and then we'll bring it up next week.
Okay, sounds good.
Appreciate it.
No problem. I have one more just
Yes.
item of business. There was an invitation to a public meeting in Peabody this coming Wednesday evening
Yes.
for the Doyle
Watershed.
for that flood control dam. If any of you are interested in going, it might be beneficial to hear what they have to say. And,
Location of it is in that.
Library.
Yeah, it'll be just south of 90th Road between Holly and Indigo. And then the spillway will be
They gonna
close to
rebuild
the-
that, or?
No, it's a new one.
That's a new one.
This will be a completely new.
And that's another one that will flood the road.
Yep, Bryce
It
has
will
brought it
flood
to our
right.
attention.
Yeah, it'll
several
flood
times.
90th. He talked about that before.
Yep, several times. So,
That's our concern with it, but we did some research
Yeah.
and there was a resolution signed in 2004 that the commission has allowed intermittent flooding of 90th.
so we'd have to go back and change that.
No, I wasn't on that. It was on board. I wasn't there. Wasn't my signature on it, was it?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
That was just
Wonder
before your
what the
time.
thinking is
Just
behind.
by a
Just
hair.
before.
By a hair.
Flood on a
Yeah.
private road.
Leroy's, yeah.
I don't know why it wouldn't be culverted and built up.
Well, that's what I mean.
Well-
Yes, they had a reason.
Commissioner Dolphy will bring us back all that information from the Wednesday meeting.
Give me the meeting.
It's on an email.
Okay.
Got it.
It's on there.
Official invitation.
I hope it's-
Actually, I'll be there also, Sharon. So.
Okay, we can put a special notice that commissioners may be attending.
I don't think.
Yeah, if there's two, as long as there's two, it's no problem.
Yeah.
It might not be a bad idea just to notice
Right.
it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for me?
Thanks, Sharon.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
All right, Susan, come on in.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
I would like to have like a 15-minute discussion about personnel.
Okay.
If that's doable.
That will work. I move that we recess the executive session in order to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 1, personnel matters and non-elected personnel performance with permission, Sharon and Brad for 15 minutes, 2:21 to 2:36.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. We will be back at 2:36. Mr. Garing.
Yeah, I didn't try to log back in.
Actually, I'll just kick you.
Did I do it again?
I don't know. I waited for you to go first.
Just did about 25 seconds.
This conference will now be recorded.
I didn't know they could kind of
15 seconds. Now that we have the official clock.
Yeah, the Crowfoot clock.
Crowfoot clock.
There you go.
All right, 2:36. We are out of executive session. No decisions made.
Okay, one thing that I brought up a while back about reconfiguring the office in there. I do have one bid. I am trying to get at least one more bid. My goal, of course, was to get as many as I possibly could.
Sure.
But there's a interesting problem right now. Everybody's busy, and so, which is great. I'm happy for the local people because I've been trying to get a local. I've got the one I have a bid from is from Wichita, and I'd love to get a local person. So I'm still, I know that one that I contacted that has done work for the county in the past is too busy. Nelson Foles, he's just too busy, and I respect that. And then I'm just kind of at a loss of any more bids.
It's a problem everywhere.
What are you trying to get done?
We're reconfiguring mainly the main office, making it a little more user-friendly.
Like moving walls or?
No, just new furniture. Reconfiguring, we're gonna
Layout.
move some desks around and put in new furniture.
Okay.
We're not moving walls.
You're not moving plug-ins.
All two guys in a truck.
Probably
Electrical
not.
and computer wiring.
Yeah, some of that'll have to move.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, I need to, because I've talked to Lloyd about it, I've talked to him a while back about it, but not recently, to kind of give him a heads up.
So that gets down to where you almost have to know where electricians would have to know where to.
And we know that.
Stuff up.
We have a design.
Yeah, okay.
But what, talking carpet or anything?
No, we
If you get a
still
move
have
stuff.
carpet squares
Okay.
from when we put that carpet in, whenever that was 5 or 6 years ago. And so we have plenty of extra carpet squares that can go under those cabinets that weren't moved at the time. So really all we're getting is furniture, desks and chairs.
Trading
And
an office supply company to bid on it.
I've tried that, and they don't come.
That is a weird request.
Well, and it's odd that just nobody's interested, and I think people are just busy. Either they're short-staffed or they're really busy.
Too far away.
Don't have any manpower.
Yeah.
One guy can't do it.
Yeah.
Two guys probably can't do it.
Salina Office Supply, did you try that?
No, I might try
I was
that.
trying to think.
I tried Navritz.
Okay, yeah.
Emporia, no response. Nelson Foles, Cody's just too busy, and I.
Who sold us this stuff we have?
That was, I think, Sunflower.
Sunflower or something?
Yeah. And Kevin Pancratz, who was at Sunflower, is now at Office Plus, and that's who I'm working with now.
Oh, okay.
Full circle almost, yeah.
There you go.
So, and he's been very helpful, you know, so we're all set, except I don't have any other bids. I'd really like to have, I'm sure you all would too, like to see more than just one bid, so. Okay, well, I'll keep trying and
Okay.
see what I can come up with. Because if I wait too long, then I'll have to go back and rebid,
Yeah.
because everything keeps going up, so. Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan. All right, Bryce.
Find out.
Your turn.
Yes. Afternoon. All right. First thing I'd like to have is a salary change approval.
Okay, Road and Bridge, Katie Zerker from 2,347 to 2,536, effective 8/21. Change from Administrative Specialist 1 to Administrative Specialist 2. It is 3 o'clock.
What happens at 3?
Slur more.
Gotcha.
Not supposed to slur before 3.
Not for any particular reason, just gotcha.
He didn't bring your flask today, don't worry about
Okay.
it.
I don't have that.
See, he's constantly dropping things on the floor and messes around. Yeah, I got you.
Don't have anything to drink.
Can you bring up cookies?
That's supposed to be a short meeting.
Well, see, last week was the
You like it?
4-H stuff, so you had all that stuff to take in. So,
Okay.
okay. Other than that, the main thing I wanted to do was go over all those cost shares. I just want to give you an update right now. Chip seal, we're done with 150th, went through Gospel today. Should finish up the west side of from K15 all the way through there tomorrow. We'll start on 120th going east, probably take the rest of the week, and then we'll be over on 90th probably Monday and Tuesday. So we should be done with that. The Indigo is done except for striping. So that was supposed to be this coming Wednesday. Haven't heard confirmation. Talked to the microservicing guys. He still is hoping for right after Labor Day. Biggest problem they're facing is trucking. They're doing a job up in Salina and they can't even keep up with the job. The trucking company can't keep up with the job up there, let alone the amount it would take here. So, but anyway, we got a place out the south shop that we're going to stockpile. Well, they're actually going to stockpile. We're just providing the place. So anyway, I did pass on 3 companies that we use for rock hauling. Just maybe they would be able to help. He said that's just the biggest thing. It's long drive getting up here.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Back on Indigo.
Yes.
The side street accesses.
we're going to work on that as soon as we're on chip seal.
Okay.
Yes.
That question keeps coming up.
Yes.
I know you've addressed it every
Yeah.
week. But
I want to do that as
answer
well
me.
as Rock 140 at the same time. That way I put about half the crew on either side.
Okay,
So-
combining work in the area.
Yep, yep.
Very
So,
good.
but anyway, yeah, we got rock and asphalt to put all over the place. So,
Good.
Yep, so, yeah, I appreciate people's understanding. It's just trying to be there, so. In fact, this Thursday and Friday, we're gonna be short again. We gotta take more guys out of sections and just people taking vacations and things like that, so. So anyway, I sent you an email of again, the follow-up on those recommendations for the cost share of the local bridge improvement program, office system bridge program, and economic development. Is there any questions about those or any other options, opinions that you guys may want? The only thing I have not got confirmation on is the HRRR. I sent an email last Wednesday, and as of this morning, or as of meeting, they still haven't responded back to me as if there's going to be another session. But the cost share, obviously, the first one there, it's $1.5 million max from KDOT. So if we go from Mustang to Remington, I thought about maybe putting in some turn lanes and stuff like that if need to. Come to find out, it's almost impossible to get turn lanes in. You have to have 10,000 vehicles a day, unless it's a medical facility. So for safety wise, is that 10,000 vehicles, is that per year? You know, anyway. So anyway, but I mean, that was kind of what I come up with. Again, the full depth reclamation with an overlay on top of that. Obviously the KDOT max now, again, that's a county output of 1.75 million. Is that something you want to do, or do you want me to shorten it up even more? You know, again, KDOT's maximum is $1.5 million, so essentially anything over $1.5 million is what's going to argue be our difference, even though they're going to basically it's the percent that we want to contribute.
What's the 2 bridges cost? 1 million?
Yes, and I'm gonna clarify that. I got somebody coming in to help me look at them tomorrow as to what we need to do. Obviously, the one that's the big issue is the one without the rail. It's only 20.1 feet wide or whatever. That's the one that really needs to have something done. I want to look at, see if it's a matter of the just excessive rains, or is there something we can do to increase the flow, because those 2 bridges flood almost every time. So like I said, we can look on that, and that gives me all next week yet to come up with a final. Well, this one, I guess that one not till the 15th. But anyway, that was what I was looking at there. You know, we could go in and we could reduce the cost by not doing the bridges and do the bridges later under a different program. Again, that's an option. So the local bridge improvement program, obviously I think I sent that to you. I found out that we could not use that bridge we talked about before because it's already private hands, and they would not go back and retroactively give us, yeah.
I
So
thought that was too good to be true.
well, yeah, but I did come up with the idea of the canal route, Old Mill between 260th and 270th. We have those two cross bridges out there as well as another single span that I don't see us ever going back and trying to fix that road to make it a feasible road. That's the one where there's basically water sitting there all spring long. The roadway is 8, 10, sometimes 12 feet below the fields. So that would be my thought, that we could go in there and we could close and or vacate that road, at least get rid of the bridge, especially the one on the north. There is absolutely no, well, you can get down to it, but there's no reason to have access down there because the access is just the fields on the north. The one on the south, we're gonna have to come up with either leaving it or come up with something else because it's, what is it, 200 feet off of 260th, but that, we have to keep access to the field on the northeast of there. But at least if we were to take this bridge off of the inventory, that would give us the credit of, it's 38 feet, so we'd have $38,000 credit.
Between 250th and 260th?
260 is 270.
270.
On
Yep. Old Mill.
Old Mill. Oh,
Yep. You know,
I know exactly
That,
which one
that's the
you're talking
one
about.
where we've got,
With the barricades are up there.
yep, and we've had a former member of the county that got stuck down there and all sorts of anyway, it's really, in fact, you can actually drive down most of the way now, but most of the time it's got standing water in it. But in order for us to fix that, we'd have to do the same thing. We'd have to go 50, 75 feet out into these fields and push it back closed. And with the amount of water with Mud Creek, it just meanders through there. And, you know, like just west of there on 260th, it's got a little water crossing.
Right.
So.
You hit that going a little fast. So
Yeah.
you'll know it.
Yep. So anyway, that was my thought, was to turn that one in at least this year. Like I said, whether we've got it posted temporarily as a road closed if we want to go back and do the formal process. But again, I mean, as long as we maintain access on the north side and then access from the south to that field, there's really not a problem other than that bridge out in the middle, which would be closed. So I'd actually kind of like to go in there and, it's only a 20-year-old bridge. There's no rating on it whatsoever. It's a 30, I mean, it's a great bridge. So I'd like to go in there maybe this winter time, and if we could salvage it, get the beams and stuff like that off of there, because that would be something we could turn around and use elsewhere. So.
Commission consensus?
Obviously, the other option I got on here is the stone arch on up there north of 310th on Wagon Wheel. That's the stone bridge we were looking at, and we said no, we weren't going to put any money into it. That's another one. We could close that bridge and just, as long as we provide access on either side, we could do that. That only gives us a $30,000 credit. Or we could, either way, we could use either one. Next time a project comes up, we could use another one to do that. So that's another road that I don't think we could ever, obviously working on the bridge, very, very cost prohibitive, but for littles use it. But, so like I said, I like the, obviously the bigger credit. And then on top of that is how much does the county want to put in for a cost share? You know, I said, you know, 40,000 would be 10%. That's typically what they've said. So the 10% along with the credit, it should look very, very, very good. So. Kind of quiet.
Is the off-system bridge program where we change our, is that the one we change our funds on? I mean, we could change our amount on to help?
Any of them you can.
Any of them you
yeah,
can?
they most time they say anywhere between 10 and 25%, but that's like these cost shares. You know, we've been at 40%. Now again, with this cost share up here, we're going to be probably 60% range for the county, if that's something you want to do. Now again, there's I could, yeah, like I said, take the bridges out of there, that would drop $1 million. But I know with all the projects going on, that's what choice you want to make. So that's what I'm here to say.
You're thinking the whole project's $550,000 on the 120th and Pawnee? Where's down at your bottom, the off-system bridge program, 9222?
$550,000 for the bridge.
For the bridge.
Yeah, I think that's it.
And that's what you're asking, what percentage of the county we wanna?
Yes.
put in.
Yep. I'm trying to remember what the office's bridge was. I think that's one they'd like to have 25% on.
Does everybody know the bridge that we're talking about, straight south of Albany?
I think that's
I'm open to any suggestions here, what do you think we
I
can do?
mean, it's just,
I think the bridge, I think the road is we're worth putting the bridge in. It's
Yeah.
not a nowhere bridge, it's
Right.
not a
Yeah.
dirt road.
Right.
It's a good road.
It is a good
yeah.
road.
Yeah, it's a good road except for that
Bridge, yeah.
bridge, curve and
Yeah.
stuff like that,
So-
which I think we'd be able to straighten it out a little bit too.
25% would be what?
That would be.
150,000?
Yeah, somewhere around there. So, and that's, like I said, that's what, if you want to go with, we could go more or less. I mean, it's just like anything else. The more money we put in there, the better it looks, but yet it comes out of the coffers as well.
We ain't got any of them lately though,
And you know,
so it really doesn't matter. It's
yeah,
just,
yeah. Yeah, throwing the dice. I wish I knew the answers to that. Honestly, you know, I talked with the local projects guy quite a bit, and he's the same way. He said we've only got X amount of money, and so.
Commissioner Galka, you kind of had a thought?
Well, whatever we put in is, if it's on a good road and the number of cars we know travels it and everything, and then, but right now we've got the wind farms down through there, and who knows, I wouldn't want to put it in until.
Well, it won't get in.
No, we have probably, based on what we're looking at, we probably wouldn't let it till at least next fall. So, I mean, the wind farm and everything else would be
Should
done.
probably go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a
so,
good point.
yeah. And it's, you know, I mean, to say the bridge is holding up now, I mean, I hope nothing ever happens that makes it fall, but, yeah. I guess honestly, out of all the stuff I looked at, I thought that was the best.
Oh, what I'm getting at is if we come up with 125,000, if that's what we want to put in, I think something ought to be standard all over, to where if it's a good hard road, that's just a number that we put in on project, but that's wishful thinking.
But every cost share dollar we get is $1 we save
Yeah.
for taxpayers.
Yeah.
So we want to get our odds as good as possible.
Yeah. Dave, it's your area, I haven't heard nothing from you yet.
I agree with Randy. I mean, let's worry about the bridges that are on the roads that are viable and
Right.
traveled. You know,
Absolutely.
these bridges that get one car a day down, you know, if you can, as long as we can maintain access to
Yeah.
the farmers' fields.
Yeah.
Well,
that road
that's-
gets a lot more.
This
traffic.
road gets a lot of main traffic. 25% of that would be 137,500. So,
30, 40.
Whichever, I'm game for anything, but I just think we need to support, try to get that bridge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion for 140 then.
Go 40%.
Well, 140,000.
Where's the money coming from?
That's what
Well,
I'm
that's,
figuring out.
and that's, yeah, and that's, because we get $200,000 a year for bridge is what's budgeted, so, we could put that towards it next year, or if you want to take it out of capital improvement or whatever else, so.
If you don't have a bridge supported, would that money, would that go back to the exchange then?
We've put some things towards it, it hasn't been the whole thing, but that's kind of been the whole plan to,
That used to be the way we did
Yeah.
all those bridges, off-road bridges.
Yeah.
Was with that yearly fund.
Yeah.
Try to keep it that way, so.
yeah, and then unfortunately, if you're doing one for yourself now, it's not even really a question, you can't really do it anymore with the prices.
Right.
So, but that's what I'd like to say, is put in that bridge. I think it was still 200,000, so.
Does every bridge that we look at, fracture critical, require engineering?
In order to do this system, you have to basically have it designed. And that is because you have to do a flow line study, hydrology, basically that you're putting up a reasonable bridge for the conditions.
If you're getting financed.
Yes,
Getting any
with
grants
state,
or
with,
anything.
yes, with any kind of state or federal money.
You-
Now, with the local bridge improvement program, you have a lot more latitude in that. You don't have to, like the guardrail's not near what it is up to standard and everything else, but you still want a bridge that's structurally sound and functionally good to where it hopefully doesn't overtop.
The one that Bryce talked about getting in, and I don't know the bridge personally, but going in and recapturing the beams and stuff like that, those were Andy bridges. We
Yes.
did not have to have engineering.
Right, but
They was under, usually
Gonna say,
under 40 foot.
50 years ago, most of our bridges didn't have any engineering.
yeah.
We had our own bridge.
And I don't know what the Andy bridges, were any of those paid with state or federal money? That was all county. So that basically where that comes.
Just don't think feels.
Speaking of the hospital, we can hear.
I mean, we're just hopping from one thing to the
Yeah,
next.
yeah. So,
Okay, Commissioner Dalkey's suggestion was 140,000, that'd be 25%.
A little over 25%.
About 25%, 75%.
And I'd like
Is
to say
that agreeable with the commission? So
Second.
we'll just go commission consensus to do 25, 75 on the bridge.
Okay, for the 140, you want to go 25% of the 140,000?
Okay, that's good, yeah.
25%.
I thought they went percentage.
The 25% is 137,500.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little less than
Okay.
140, but
You have to go by percent?
yeah, I just.
Okay, then do the 140,000. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Like I said, I just wanted to make sure, so. Okay.
You like my Boeing?
We were talking about hopping, so.
Well,
anyway.
just thinking about not having bridges and putting springs at each end.
Is that what it is?
Fire
Okay.
people
yeah.
over.
There you go.
Some of those people driving down there, you kind of wonder. The old Dukes of
Some of them
Hazzard.
don't touch that bridge.
Yeah, I know, the old Dukes of Hazzard, or smoking a band, or whatever the case may be, so. And as far as the local bridge improvement program, you guys okay with those two that I had there? Again, he asked us to submit them separately, but say, hey, we'd like to put these together. I think it's gonna be pretty tough for them not to look at this and say, hey, this is what to do. One of them obviously is, I would say it's almost a guarantee it's a fracture critical, you know. So we could do that, but again, whether you want to stick with 10%, $40,000, that would essentially be almost the rest of the bridge money for those, so.
Yeah.
Probably stick with your recommendation.
Okay.
Do I have any opposition? Then I'd say board consensus, proceed with your recommendation.
And you want to go with the 40,000?
Go with the 40,000.
Okay, I'll just say 10%, so.
Okay.
And again, that comes down to the economic development. I contacted them and I said, okay, can we get $1 million this year and $1 million next year? She responded back and she said, send me the information, I'll look at it, but no guarantees, whatever that means. So, one of the reasons why that, I've got that project from just east of Remington over to Lincolnville is there's only one structure down there just west of Vista that if we wanted to look at, that's another thing I'll look at tomorrow, if we wanted to extend it to get outside the clear zone, we could do that. Other than that, it would just be a few culverts. So basically, we're looking at paving, you know, the full depth reclamation, and then going through Lincolnville. Lincolnville, I'm guessing we'd probably do a mill and overlay or something to that effect, because obviously we wouldn't want to do the full depth reclamation going through town. So, like I said, with the economic development, KDOT has a maximum for, you know, they've said try to get it to $1 million, so that would be about another $1 million from the county. Whether trying to get that turned around and let for next year, maybe we'd be able to get another $1 million next year. I don't know if they would apply it to that same project or one of the other ones. Again, I really don't know. So, but at least this way would give us another $1 million towards that roadway. So, and I'd say right now that road, that stretch there is probably the best shape out of the area up there, if I could say that. It has its problems, but I don't think it has as big a problems with some of the other stuff. So, but anyway, that was my choice there too. So either way, again, what you're going to do is
When do we find out the results of these?
like everything else, the economic development is one of those we've been talking about for several months. We just turned that in, and I can basically turn that in and tell her, and then she can let me know. I would think that would go faster, obviously, than the other ones, because there's I say less competition. We've already talked to them several times about the economic development, and it's just a matter of however we word it or send it in.
Right.
But like I said, that would be almost a 50-50 split for that section. So, any problems with that?
Well, they talk bundling, so let's see if they'll follow
Well,
through.
yeah, I'd love to, well, and that's what I was kind of talking before, it'd be nice to put the entire thing into, submit it for all the programs and say, hey, just give us money for everything and we'll make it work,
Right.
you know? But,
Anyway.
I know, but it's optimistic speaking, so.
Well, let's move forward with it.
Okay, got that. Now.
Is there any opposition? Good board consensus, move
Okay,
forward.
all right. Still comes down to the cost share.
Yeah.
We've got $1.5 million from KDOT available. You know, I had that Mustang to Remington. If you want, I could take the bridges out of there. Maybe that will, some of that may be determined tomorrow when we look at these bridges in depth. But the one thing about taking the bridges out of there is we can, it's kind of a double-edged sword. In fact, is if you take the bridges out of there, then you can only do the roadway up so close. So then when you redo the bridge, then you'll have to basically, wherever you stop and start the road work, you'll have to stop and start the approaches for the bridge. And again, that's like anything else, that's where your high dollar's at, you know, for those kind of work. So, like I said, basically it's up to you if you want to if we turn it in like it is, or you want me to take the bridges out of there, or I guess I could update you tomorrow. Well, again, the cost share actually does allow us to go to the 15th, so we've got a little bit, another 2 weeks to turn that in.
Well, first of all, I think get the information tomorrow.
Okay.
And if that changes your perspective, we'll revisit it.
Okay. Sounds good.
And
Yeah, like I said,
otherwise, if it does not change your perspective, then we move ahead.
Okay. Well, like I said, we've got extra time to look at that one. These other two, I really need to get going on with pictures and stuff to that effect. I haven't turned in 3 of them in a week and a half, so that should give us some time. And then again, I'm still waiting to hear on the high-risk railroads. Again, that west portion, that was included in that program. So I would think if we were to turn around and say, like to put it back under that program, like to putting your hand in a cookie jar and see what you can pull out for money. So, but anyway.
Picking up projects where you start and stop, is 190th and Nighthawk ever going to happen, or is this?
Yes, that's in September, October.
Oh, it's just for sure that, but yet we
Yep.
got it.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, we've had the funding. Part of the problem there was we had a right-of-way issue there, and that was with all the fiasco we had, I finally come back and said, can we redesign it and not take any right-of-way? And they said yes. So by getting rid of that, no, it's been submitted for what they call PS&E plan specifications and estimating for about 2 months now. I think it's either September or October ready. So, and that should work out well because by the time they approve it, I don't know whether anybody can get it turned around faster than this fall. It's not a lot of work, but yet it's.
And you still have blade patching to do.
Yep, lots of blade patching.
Is Old Mill between 30th and 20th on your
Yep.
plan?
You name a road, we've got blade patching on it.
Okay. Well, there's only
So you
2 or
need
3
3 more months of summer.
He's trying to keep you down there in the south end of the county
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
rest of the year.
Well,
See
we've
that?
got calls on that. We've got calls on 60th. We've got Kansas all the way from
Yeah,
140th to
the whole road.
90th. We've got Limestone going to Tampa. We got Quail Creek going to Ramona. We've got 290th.
Bryce, thank you.
Yes, like I said, you name it. Yeah. Oh, we forgot
When are they gonna get
290th.
started
Did we cut Kansas out and put a culvert up there somewhere?
On
Kansas.
where at?
North, probably up 1
Just-
or 260th
Yes.
area.
Yes.
Yeah, down there
Yeah.
Not
south
260th.
south of the
Yeah,
causeway.
yeah, we replaced the
Are we
culvert.
keeping that full of gravel or?
Well, for now, until we go back to blade
Yeah,
patching.
because somebody said they hit that the other day and about lost it.
Well, we're supposed to go back and check it. And
Yeah, so you better make sure that
Yeah,
stays full
well,
up,
it's-
like yes, settled.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what we're looking at. That's why I've been pushing so hard on chip seal is we've got probably 6 to 8 weeks minimum of trying to get, of blade patching
Blade patching.
after we get going here. So I'm hoping that the weather holds out and
Yeah.
gets us better than ever. Yeah, we've got a list.
Summer through Christmas.
Yep. So, And then, the other thing is.
The farmer's almanac.
So,
Yeah.
no road rebuilds this year.
No. Well, I just don't see how it's gonna happen, because the problem is I've got the blades, I don't have the supporting help to run the sheep's foot and the rollers and the water trucks and stuff like that, so.
Alney Road's gonna be done. I mean, that's.
Yeah, my plan is hopefully if we're done chips in the middle next week, again, I'll split the crew half on the Indigo entrances and then we'll go back and finish. I drove across it today, I think it's holding up very well, no real
Well,
problems.
the people was in here, they said it felt so soft.
Haven't found that.
Okay.
I drove down on Sunday, it's hard,
Yeah.
hard and smooth.
Well, and again, we're gonna do a final grading on it before we put that rock on there, so.
I thought there might be some rents from the rain on Saturday, but
Yeah.
it must not have got slick.
Is it getting the gray rock?
It will on top.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we get base and then.
Yeah, the base and then go with the rocks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that gray rock. I'm a believer, man.
Yeah.
I
Well,
come
I
up
gotta-
on it, and it's like a solid surface road.
Yeah.
From one part of the road to that, and
Yeah.
it's like it didn't even rain.
Yeah. Also, again, I said, our bids are due this Friday for the contract rock for 45,000 tons. So, we've got one bid back, but two more hopefully to come, so I want to get that turned around and get started right away as well, so. I guess any other questions, comments about the projects or anything?
Any of the roads that you're doing in that 45,000 tons, are you doing any prep blading for them, or are you just going out and dumping them?
We're gonna do what we can to get ahead of it. The biggest problem that I'm gonna find out is, not the biggest problem, is who gets it. We are bidding by section, so whoever gets the section, they will call the blade man directly to tell them, hey, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm gonna do. So we think that's the best way. We're gonna try this for that communication, so if they have a problem, the blade man can go out there, or they can say, hey, tomorrow I'm gonna haul on such and such, they can go out and try to work on that as well.
Good.
So,
Good plan.
yeah, so, if you don't have anything else, the only thing I probably need to do, you wanna do our stuff now, do you want 10, 15 minutes?
Just do it now.
Okay, how long do you want?
Really kind of up to you in terms of alternatives, 10 minutes.
I think that'll work, yeah. Just with the board and Brad and I.
Personnel.
No, it will
No,
be
it's-
land acquisition.
Oh, land acquisitions. Very good.
And Ashley, Ashley would.
I move that we recess to executive session in order to discuss land acquisition pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 6, preliminary discussion acquisition of real estate with Bryce, Commission, Brad, for 10 minutes. Let's go from 3:09 to 3:19.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dalkey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Back at 3:19.
It'll just go nuts.
Yeah.
This
Or you'll
conference
have,
will now be
have poor
recorded.
reception, once you get back to reception, it goes bing, 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 bing. So.
Okay, we are out of executive session. No decisions made.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, unless you guys don't have anything, so.
Nope.
Well, I guess you're bouncing right out of here.
Randy,
He's pushing that button on purpose.
Yeah, I guess.
I
I'd
don't
give
know how
him,
to silence it.
all of us just give him a call and see if until he figures out how to.
That's not the finger I wanted to give you.
You don't want to know that, because you might hear something that's other than the boing specifically. Yeah.
Okay, well, again, if you guys need anything, I'll let you know what we find out tomorrow, or the recommendations.
Appreciate it.
Go from there. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Bryce.
Do you have a new number now?
Yes.
Share with us?
Yep.
That's why he won't answer any of his texts. It's
Seven.
a whole new deal.
Whatever. He was answering a text the other day.
983
Oh, Saturday.
Yeah.
2978. That's my old phone number.
All right, we have 3 more executive sessions to go through. Commissioner Dalkey, would it be okay if we tabled the, I know we keep
That's all right.
doing that, but
That's all right.
I'd really rather not tackle that when we're
Okay. No problem.
still got a list.
3 more sessions?
Yes.
What's wrong with this counselor? He wants me.
In fact, 2
It's
of them are
not-
not mine.
Oh, okay.
Let him pile up on us.
It's not the counselor.
Oh, okay.
But we have 3 executive sessions, and then we should be ready to adjourn. Okay, I move that we recess an executive session or discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, Item 1, personnel matters, not elected personnel performance with the commission and Brad, and possible call-in from Chuck Kinney. For 10 minutes from 3:25 to 3:35. Let's make that 3:26 to 3:36.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gehring. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Motion carried. We'll be back at 3:36.
Put that seat, that foot down.
Okay, okay.
It turned red.
Okay.
I don't necessarily have to do that.
Who's out to
This
undermine
conference will now be recorded.
You sound like you.
So I gotta fill that off.
I'd like for you to
Yeah, no, I think I'd rather,
Look deep at you.
rather be present than find out after the fact.
You can off for a while, then I'll put it on before I leave here.
Oh,
Good
okay.
luck, yeah.
We're out of executive session. No decisions made.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to call an executive session for, just to look at applications for emergency management director. Let's go 15 minutes. So I move that we recess an executive session in order to discuss applications for emergency management director pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 1, personnel matters, non-elected personnel, performance with the commission. Brad, what did I say, 15 minutes? 3:40 to 3:40. Okay, 3:38 to 3:43, right?
No, that's about 5 minutes.
53.
3:53.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gehring. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carried. We'll be back at 3:53. The Crowfoot clock does not have.
Sugar idea.
Yeah. It's all good.
This conference will now be recorded.
Take some more drugs.
Just take an emergency. Allergies, man.
All right, we're out of executive session. No decisions made. Oh, I need to pass this stuff. Last executive session, 5 minutes.
At most.
All right, potential litigation.
Yes.
Move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss potential litigation pursuant to KSA 75-4319B for item 2, consultation with our attorney, attorney-client privilege. Commission and Brad for 5 minutes, 3:55 to 4 o'clock.
Second.
It's multiple seconds.
You got it, you got it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We will be back at 4 o'clock. Now that one I could add. That's why I try to round up to the 5 minutes.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we are out of executive session. No decisions made.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion from
Are we
Commissioner
gonna
Gehring.
check about Friday?
We can. That doesn't have to be me.
Yeah, we'll find out. Second? Is there a second to adjourn? Okay, I'll second it.
Oh, okay.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Just trying to plan.
Well, I wanted to hear all those seconds a while ago, and I thought, well, I missed one or two of them, so I'd hear them this time. but
I
didn't
figured
hear
it
them.
was, that was.
This conference